welcome back here once again. I've done some videos talking about what is going on with the MCU lately, why they're in such a state, their toy sales aren't good, their merch is not selling, the movies and TV series that they keep putting out is downright terrible, and it leaves one to wonder what exactly is going on with the MCU, what are their plans, why are they seemingly trying to destroy themselves. Well, it turns out a Marvel insider has reached out and provided some information on what exactly is going on and why it is having the effect it's having right now. Right? So a Marvel insider spills the beans what's really going on with Feige and Chapek. Right? An insider from Marvel has reached out with key pieces of information that help explain what is going on and why Bob Chapek allows it. So let's go through this and see what it is actually happening. Alright, that'll be a good job on the toy sales. I've talked about it in a previous video, the toys are not going good at all. It matches up with what I know too. I can't say anything about Cap, but I can tell you the new stuff isn't selling. Smoke and mirrors, that's what all this is with Eternals, She-Hulk, two horrible entries. The public doesn't care. So now we have the big sellers and they're making money, but we're stuck playing with our backup rosters because reasons. Let me explain the reasons. What is going on right now with Marvel is the same thing that happened with Star Wars. It's a vicious loop. It all comes down to two big factors: China and ego. Let's find out what that actually entails. On the China side, Marvel is dead in China, not the brand, the sales. The Chinese government wants to play hardball, wants to cut off the MCU from their box office. It's all politics and propaganda. They want the biggest movies made in China playing in China. But that was the big driving force behind Marvel's strategy for a decade. We were supposed to get to finish Infinity Stone saga, saturate Western markets, then growth was in Beijing. Now we're locked out. Same as Star Wars, but different reason. Lucasfilm mismanaged Star Wars in China, made it all too hard to get into for an audience that was new. So that killed the market. For Marvel, Beijing has a vendetta against us. We got too big and the communist hand has slapped us down. So now we have to find a new place to grow. That's why we pushed hard into diversity. So he's basically saying that the reason why they're pushing into this whole diversity thing isn't because they actually care. And people should know that by now. They really don't. They're getting problems in China, so they need a new market. This is why I've asked the question many times: who are they making these things for? It's clearly not for the fans anymore. Who are they making it for? So now we've heard it that they're pushing hard into diversity. I explain the question, man. Diversity at Marvel doesn't mean what you think it means, okay? It isn't races and religion and disabilities. Diversity is equal with representation. So the idea was that after Black Panther, we could put into representation on everything to make up for the China loss. Not all of it, but two, we aren't supposed to represent everything and everyone. We don't do Christians or Jews. We don't do strong male white leads in heroic spots. It's not that those are bad at Marvel going forward. It's that we're told we already have the market for those groups. Why make more of something when you can slow burn your big stuff for those demographics and keep parents buying it at the same rate? Okay, so they pretty much have what they've had before, and that is somehow making it its way as is. So they're slow burning it and trying to push something else, even though that's not really showing anything at all. Lately though, and this is why I wanted to reach out to you, right? Representation and diversity are political. That's why I am worried, along with others, that this is going down the Star Wars black hole. They don't mean to make it political. They just are political and don't know it. They don't leave their bubbles in. Well, we talked about that, how they're not people not leaving their bubbles at all. Instead of doing new stuff based on race or sex, we have to do it based on behaviors. Then in meetings, we're told behaviors are representations. It's not enough to have don't have diversity based on background. We have to have diversity based on the way people act. Why do you think She-Hulk is how it is? They're trying to create a new Marvel market for neo-feminist women. We're trying to grow in every direction all at once and have the belief the old fans will stick with it through all of this. Well, that's already a bad idea. She-Hulk is a terrible series, and I've asked many times, who is this made for? Now we know it's for neo-feminist women. But the very idea that you're going to grow in every direction all at once and have the belief that old fans will stick with it through all of this, that doesn't make any kind of sense, because at some point Marvel and by extension the MCU is going to have to bring back their classic heroes, the Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, Chris Evans, Captain America, these kind of things. We have to bring back the Avengers and all of this. But by the time they do that, the fans may be so sick and tired of what is being put out there, and they'll just walk away, and your entire profit margin will just go down the drain. I mean, She-Hulk is a terrible show. The ratings for it are falling so hard that I don't even think it have a rope, a leg to stand on at this point, or a rope to even hold on to. It's terrible. But this is what you're putting on it, because you're trying to literally diversify the market and reach out to people who don't watch these things, who are not interested in them. They're only interested in it in that they can use it as a mouthpiece to push their own propaganda, but they don't actually watch, they don't actually care. But that isn't the case. They know it and can't hide it. The flops have been gigantic embarrassments. People aren't turning to Disney Plus to get the Marvel shows the way it was planned. Same time, they aren't willing to change because this is a Feige strat, and it is all about his ego. Okay, let's find out what we're going on with Feige's ego. Feige has been running the Marvel playbook based on Stan Lee's stuff. Joss Whedon stuff, Favreau, Russell, you name it. Feige got the credit, but he also wants more. He doesn't want to be known as the greatest IP manager of all time. He wants to be known as the greatest studio head ever. Creative, financial, everything. But the Feige strat is failing. Everyone knows it. Your toy expert knows it. Our partners know it. But then people, when the phones are away, will ask, why aren't you adjusting? Why don't you go back to what works? That comes down to ego. Feige thinks he can hold out long enough to build the new markets with all the diversity, diversity, inclusion, and all of this stuff on screen. Then he thinks he can buy back the old fans with a huge spending spree for multiverse stuff. They're bringing everybody back they can get. Anybody who worked on anything Marvel plus more, money is being thrown at them, at the problem like crazy. Maybe not Robert Downey Jr., though that relationship is soured. Okay. And you know what? It will work. It will work for a while. They're putting bandages on the boat. When Jackman Wolverine shows up through a portal, fans will go nuts like for Spider-Man. But then what? That's the Star Wars problem. We're going to blow everything on getting the fans back, but the holes will still be there after we spend all this money, all this investment. Feige will still push the whole diversity, inclusion, and all of this stuff, and new stories so he can change his legacy. It won't work in the long run. Now you might ask why Bob Chapek is letting this happen. He came down hard on Lucasfilm and Pixar. The people working there are at their lowest morale. Very little coming to theaters. Their creative control dropped. So why not the same for Marvel? Run-of-the-mill analysts don't understand it either. Bob and Kevin dislike each other, so why does Marvel still push further and further? Okay, well, apparently there are 2 points. One, Bob Chapek says he wants to get the company out of politics. Company policy is coming. Everybody knows it, but Bob doesn't want out of politics the way you guys think. I like your stuff on the side, but you people have been okay. Well, he wants Disney out of policy, but he wants to go hard at the representation we talked about. Only one direction though, it's money. They already have the white market, the Christian market, the moderates market, and they don't boycott. At least they didn't. Strategy didn't change now that we're seeing it drop. But even if he wants Disney out of political sausage making, he still wants into the alphabet issues. Yes, he wants into that alphabet community market, and that's what he's going to be pushing. He wants into behavior stuff. That's where they believe the new markets are. They want minority Disney Plus ratios up. They want single women merch sales up. Feige is using what we lovingly call the KFC model to protect himself from Bob Chapek. If you really want to know how Bob is kept hands off on Marvel, even though Thor came in under our desires, yeah, because Thor Love of the was a horrible movie. Strange had a big drop off, of course, etc. You need to know how things looking you right in the face. Feige has a Chapek at his side. Bob's son, Brian Chapek, has been accelerated up the company. He was a major producer on Thor 4. Well, oh God. It pisses off so many people at the studio because it's blatant nepotism. That nepotism has ruined many entire franchise in itself, yeah? But it keeps Bob at bay. And Brian is totally on board with everything Feige is about. Not to be mean, but Brian isn't the sharpest. He's nice, but he's nowhere close to good enough to be where he is right now. But Feige is grooming him to support what Marvel does, and then Daddy Chapek doesn't want to go against Junior. But then, too, Feige doesn't let Junior get big enough that he is any sort of threat at Marvel. They do stuff like make baby Thor be Bob Chapek's grandson to keep everyone happy. We'll end. For now, though, it's very interesting that this source claim that Marvel push into what many claim is woke is nothing more than a growth strategy, thinking that traditional and conservative fans won't abandon the MCU. It's also extremely eye-opening that Feige may be using Chapek's son to create a hedge around the studio to protect against criticism. At the end of the day, what this whole thing boils down to is Disney is interested in making money, and they're pushing into markets, figuring that they're going to reach out to as many different groups as possible. And the problem is that the majority of these groups that they're reaching into could care less about anything that you make. They're not interested, they don't business, they think that you are a waste of space, and they only use you for when they need you. But here you have Bob Chapek and Kevin Feige going through all this nonsense to just try and get something rolling to make it seem like, they have accomplished something great, when in fact all they're doing is just showing everybody that they have no idea what the hell they're doing, and they're just destroying everything. So now we know for a fact what is happening at Marvel. It's not about diversity, not about inclusion, not about representation. It's about them trying to jump into markets to try and make money. There's nepotism, there's ego, there's the whole Chinese factor, and they're thinking to themselves that they could put up as many terrible things as they want, and the fans are just going to somehow be there when the time comes. Like they said here, if the time comes, they see a portal open up and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine walks out, people are going to be excited, saying like what happened with Spider-Man. Yeah, people are going to be very excited. But what then? What then? Nothing. Nothing at all to be anything, and then you just leave it, and that's all that's left. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you have a different opinion, we'll be happy to hear it. If you like the video, be sure to hit that thumbs up. And I shall see you. Subscribe if you haven't already as well. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.